Hey guys, quick spiel on how to use the Geogebra online app on your iPads. I'm going to be doing this on a computer, but it's going to look almost exactly the same as on an iPad. So you're going to go up here and you're going to go to geogebra.org. And when you get there, we're going to click on Start GeoGebra. And then you have some options of what to create. Let's just go to geometry here. So we're going to go into geometry. A couple of things quickly before we begin. One thing that I like to do is immediately in the upper right, click on this kind of options tab. These are all the options for kind of the whole file. In perspectives, I like to click on algebra. And it brings this thing over here to the left. It's going to be nice for seeing a list of all the objects that we create. Last thing I like to do is this is kind of one of the options tabs. I like to click on that and get rid of these axes. So we got no axes. Okay. A couple of things. We're going to start with the simplest, how to create a point. Here you've got kind of all the main menu items, and here is a point. Let's create a point. Boom! There's a point. Boom! There's another point, and you can see them show up here when you create them. Now that you have 2 points, why don't we create a line through those 2 points? So when you click that tool, you click on one point, you click on another point, boom! You've got a line. You can create a segment through 2 points. So here's point B. And even though there isn't another point already created, we can just click again. Boom. We've got a point or a segment through those 2 lines. How about creating a ray? Here's our endpoint. Boom. There's a point on the ray. We've got our ray there. I do want to make a note about how to label things and kind of adjust how they show up on the screen. So here is the kind of move tool. This is if you just want to select something. So imagine I select this line segment right here. Immediately we have some options. I can make it pink, for instance. I can make it thicker. I can make it dashed. Or I can go back to making it full. Here you can say whether you want just the name to be shown. So this line segment's name is B. Not a very cool name. You can show the value for this line segment. The value is its length, its measure. For a line, for instance, if I were to show the value, you'd get the equation of that line. Remember that in theory, behind the scenes, there's a whole grid, and there's actually a line that we drew with an equation, but just wanted to let you know of that. So let's get rid of those, let's get rid of all that. Okay, another really awesome option is that if you want to quickly hide something, you can, for instance, this pink one, line segment B, if I just click on it over here, boom, hide it. I can point C, I can show and hide it. So that's really helpful for when you have a lot of things going on. If you want to see only some of them, but not all of them, nice to be able to hide them. So we have a segment here. If you want to find the midpoint of a segment, right here, the midpoint or center option. If you there's no other things I can click on, but you see how it kind of highlights when I go over this line segment? Boom! There's the midpoint right there. So imagine that I've got another line. Let's do another line. Boom, boom. Suppose it's really important to have a point right where these 2 objects intersect. Boom, we're going to go point at intersect. So I'm going to click this object, this line, and this line. Boom, there's a point at the intersection. Or suppose that I just want to get a point that's definitely on this line segment. I can click on point on object, and you see how it kind of gets highlighted? Boom, that point is now on that segment, or this point is on that line, which is very cool. Okay, couple other options. Suppose that I want to draw either a parallel or perpendicular line. So let's choose perpendicular line. So if I choose, for instance, this point E, and I want to draw a line through point E, perpendicular to this line, so you see how this line highlights? Boom, here is a line through point E, perpendicular to this line right here. We could have very easily have done a parallel line. So here is line E, I want a line parallel to this one, boom, parallel line through point E. Ooh, there's even such thing as a perpendicular bisector. So if I have a segment, I'm just going to draw a random segment here. Boom, random segment. If I choose perpendicular bisector, it's going to draw a line perpendicular to this line through its midpoint. Boom. So right there, that must be the midpoint. Just to confirm, here's the midpoint. Boom. No surprise, it happened right there. You can also do an angle bisector. So let me draw another segment. So here is an angle. Right here, angle IJL. If I want to draw an angle bisector, I just 1, 2, 3, boom. There is your angle bisector. Okay, now let's talk about some polygons. Clicking over here, the Move Graphics view, which just makes it so you can kind of drag and go somewhere else. So here's the Polygon Tools. A regular polygon, if you just want to do a plain old polygon, boom, 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 boom. It can be convex, it can be concave. Once you click back on one of the original vertices, boom, you've got a polygon. A regular polygon is really fun. We're going to be talking about these later in the year. A regular polygon is one that has all sides of the same length and all equal angles. So boom, once I do that, I can say, you know what, I want a 7 vertices, 7 sides regular polygon. Boom, and there it is. Here's the move button. I can move this object. Boom, there's a 7-sided regular septagon. You can measure an angle. So if you click on angle, so for instance, suppose I want to measure this angle WVU. I'm going to click W, then V, then U. Boom, that angle measure is 128, oops, I don't know what happened there. Undo button, is 128.57 degrees. Note to self, the angle always kind of measures, how do I say, counterclockwise. For instance, if I wanted to measure this angle, AST, if I did it in this order, you see how I kind of measure this outside angle? If I wanted to measure the inside angle, I'd have to do it in that order. So just something to keep in mind. If you want to measure a distance or a length, you can click on, let's see, this button right here. Boom, boom. The length of segment NO is 4.91, and I can always click on this and drag it, and you see how this length of that segment is going to update as we drag this. And dragging does a whole lot of cool things. Let's go back over here, for instance. I'm just going to click and drag on this point E, and a whole lot of things are going to happen. Remember, we had here's a perpendicular line to this, here's a perpendicular line to this line, parallel line to this line. Just dragging one point, all of the constructions remain the same. Or for instance, if I drag this one, D is still going to be the midpoint, but you can see how things change when you click and drag, which is really awesome. Okay, just a couple more tools to learn about before I have you do this on your own. Let's talk about some circles. Circle with center through a point. So you click once, that's going to be the center of your circle. Click again, that's going to be a point on your circle. Not so bad. Circle with center and radius. There's your center, radius of 6. Boom. Got it. Something we're going to learn about later are lines called tangent lines. And if you click here, you've got a tangent. Pick a point, pick a circle, boom. 2 tangent lines get drawn, no problem. And one other feature that I actually completely forgot to talk about earlier, which is really, really helpful, is how to draw a segment with a given length. Segment with a given length, press right there. If you want a length of 3.9, no problem, boom. This segment, no matter what you do with it, is always going to stay exactly 3.9 units long. And if you move the whole thing, like you move this, it stays always 3.9 units long. So those are all the basic tools that we're going to use in GeoGebra. And so what I want to do now is take a moment to show you kind of how to save and share your file, especially if there's an assignment that I ask you to do and you need to submit it. So up here in the upper right, you've kind of got all the options concerning your file. So you can save it. You want to be logged into Google, by the way, before you open this. And it might give you a login screen here. You can just use your same user credentials, your Google credentials. So this is going to be the test thingy. All right. You can set it to private, share to public. I just keep it private for now. Save. Boom. Saved. You can go back later. You click on open. Oh, look at that test thingy. Hurrah. Let's edit. So now you can open it up later, which is pretty awesome. You can also choose to share. All right, so if you click on share, pop-up blocked. I don't know why the pop-up is blocked for me. Hopefully it's not blocked for you, but I'm going to go and show you how to do this anyway. Hopefully it doesn't get blocked. You could put a little blurb in here. Hi, Benji. This is my assignment. Best student. All right, no problem. Blah, blah, blah. And we're going to continue. What I would probably choose is visibility, share with link only. Save it. And then what you can do is, now that you're here, you can share that link. You can copy that link and send it in an email, for instance. Or last but not least, you can click export and you can save it. And you can see that it got saved right there. So if you're on a computer, you can download this and then send me that in an email. If you're on an iPad, you might have to just share the link. So that's a little intro to GeoGebra, and I'm excited to see what you guys create with it.